a weird little
It's
scenario.
been 3 hours, but we're ready for our hour-long podcast now?
Yeah, pretty ready.
Do you have thoughts? Kyle,
I mean,
how do you feel about Synergy now?
I think it's pretty good.
Yeah?
I think... Oh, I mean, okay, so I purposely picked what I think are the two best Synergy cards, which are Close the Circle and that Fast Free Rogue one.
Mm-hmm.
The Fast Free Rogue one, I think, might be the best Synergy card, actually.
Hmm.
0 resources, 1 experience. Play during any free trigger window. Gain 1 resource for each different class among cards you control.
Yeah,
It's probably going to be, at the worst, 2?
Sure.
I mean, at the worst, it's 1 resource.
At the very worst, it's 1. So, at the very worst, it's a free resource when you really need one.
Uh-huh.
And then at the best, it's 5 free resources, which is as good as an action for Faustian Bargain, as good as an action for level 2 Hot Streak.
It's like if you're running a lot of those tri-class talents, right, then you can recoup a lot of the investment, right?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
If you drop, because I think everyone has access to 2 of them, probably, or at least 1 of them.
So
right?
you're likely only going to get 1 to the board, is kind of the way I would think it would happen. So if you get 1 to the board and you have this card, it pays for itself once you find this card.
Yeah, because it's just like almost a reactive e-cash, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you had both in your hand, it would be spend 3, gain 3.
I think Easy Mark's. Cool. I think Easy Mark's a better card, though.
Easy Mark,
like,
if you get set up on Easy Mark, it's amazing. If it's just like, if you just play it as a 1 action for like, was it 1 card and 2 resources? Like,
it's
probably
an action, though, Brandon. This is not an action.
I know. I'm not saying that Easy Mark is strictly better. I'm just saying it's better.
Oh, I don't know. Would you rather have, let's say, 2 resources?
Cheat the system is a trick. Okay, so you could, for 2 XP, Rita could get 2 of these, versus 1 XP to get 3 copies of Easy Mark.
But isn't Rita going to probably only get 1 resource from this?
I mean, Rita could run a couple of the different
I guess there's
talents.
all multi-class stuff now, but
yeah. The talents give her a lot of flexibility, I think.
So basically, my thoughts on Synergy leaving this are: if you're running one of these resource type things, Synergy's really solid. I wouldn't say it's like incredibly powerful, but I think it's really solid. And I think Close the Circle actually has a ton of versatility, because not only can it do attack, evade, investigate, you can also do move, engage, like every action in the game. Like, that's basically a mini fast or like a mini Pathfinder that's also deflected.
Yeah, I mean,
something else.
I don't think you ever did this, but you can use Close the Circle to play a card, right? To play a non-fast card.
Oh,
it's a basic action.
I think basic actions by definition are like the non-bold abilities, right? So
I thought they were just all the things. I thought they were just all the things that are listed on the reference card that the core set includes, which it includes things like draw a card. Like you could use Close the Circle to do a fast card draw and play a card.
You could take a resource or whatever. Yeah.
I think you can play a card with this.
I'm not basic action.
I'm not 100% sure, but I do tend to think you can.
Honestly, I would have done that because there's a lot of times that I wanted to play more cards, but I didn't have actions to do so. So a little bit of a misplay if that is actually the way it would work, because that's it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's a nice flexible one.
Yeah, I just think the flexibility and the fact that you can do any of those things on willpower, it's like kind of, in my opinion, it's a better version of that 2 arcane slot card.
Oh, Mind's Eye?
Mind's Eye, yeah. I think it's just like...
Mind's Eye is like almost exclusively a Patrice card, I think.
Yeah.
But it's...
I just think it's like pretty much the same thing, except cheaper and better.
I mean, I definitely think Close the Circle is a fine card. Whether... Like, I think you could have built a better deck, though, using your arcane slot for a different thing, and then not having to devote space and XP to prophetic and stuff. Because you not only had to play this and pay for it and everything, but you had to build around it. I'm not sure that it was like that impressive a payoff.
But that's the thing, is I wasn't building around Close the Circle. I played prophetic to play out spells in general. Like, Close the Circle.
I think you definitely got your money's worth on prophetic.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I got
Sure.
7 actions worth.
Yeah.
It actually won me the game in the end.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I actually did not have a real way to get that last clue without having gotten my resource card from cheat. Like, I probably would have like drawn. Okay, I would have drawn right into cheat system. Yeah. So I mean, in general, I think it's really good. I think I undervalued the brand. I really like the brand.
Oh yeah, this card is bonkers. I think it's super good.
There are 2 resources that's really cheap and can do 9 damage over the course of time. Really good.
The thing, and I mean, like, this was kind of on Enchanted Blade too. The thing that Guardian Mystic multi-class cards do, where they have like charges that you only spend if you succeed and otherwise don't waste them. It's very, very good.
Yeah, that's how I feel about like the Guardian Enchanted Blade. I think that's still like one of the best cards for Guardians. They also field horror, which they're really bad at doing.
So Brandon, you saw half of your deck. About
I did.
What do you think?
Wow.
Yeah.
There's only 39 cards left in it out of like 87 or something. That's more than I would have thought that I would get through. 43 cards in my discard pile.
I mean, a lot of that might be attributed to forced learning, but
true. We only played 7 or 8 rounds, so yeah, 7 or 8 of those cards were forced learning.
Yeah.
Yeah, this deck was.
Any surprises from the Edge of the Earth stuff you haven't gotten to yet, or I guess if you want to save your reactions for.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only card I hadn't seen from Edge of the Earth, at least that was in my deck, was Hiking Boots, which I probably thought was better when I read it than it ended up being. Like
I don't think it's.
It triggers when the last clue is discovered and then must go to a location with 1 clue or an unrevealed location. Like, that's pretty niche. There's not going to be like there's only going to be a couple times per game probably where that ends up being triggerable, and then some of those times you won't want to do it. So yeah, I don't think you should play this unless you want the agility. Like if you're a Monterey Jack or an Ursula, and agility is a big part of what you're doing. Otherwise, I don't think that this is like a secret staple. Yeah,
it's definitely great for Ursula.
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah. And for Monterey.
You can leave clues behind, and and yeah, obviously Monterey.
Yeah, and as a level 1 Seeker card in the Edge box, like, it is a quote unquote Monterey card, so it makes sense that it's good for him.
Yeah, it does indeed.
Yeah, so I don't think that like, I'm glad it was in here because it was fun to hit, but I don't think it belongs in a Mandy deck most likely.
Not even as one of 90 something cards.
I mean, when you're just trying to put...
The bar is pretty low there.
Yeah, when you just are running out of cards in your card pool to put in, I guess you put in Hiking Boots.
I mean, I'm really surprised I didn't see Tempt Fate in this deck, because, you want to slim that 90 down to 88. I know you.
That was not for once, deck slimming was not my objective. And remember, I didn't build this deck at all. I net decked it with I net decked it, and then also in the either the creator, they either upgraded the description or put in the comments, I can't remember, but they, subsequent to publishing it, they had changed out like 3 cards. Like, apparently they've been playing with this and felt like it needed some tweaking.
Nice.
Really fine tune it.
Yeah.
Really tune in those 90 cards.
Yeah. So that's where
tight 90.
That's where the surprising finds came in, and I think Jeremiah Kirby got added in that after the fact. So I did make those switches, but I did no modification myself. I wanted to play the 94 card Hell deck as was written.
What do you think of Highlander Monterey?
I forgot that deck was Highlander. Like, at no point during the game was I ever realizing this was a one copy deck.
Yeah, so like full disclosure, I've played variations on the Highlander Monterey deck prior to tonight. But it I've liked it. Like, I think he likes to just kind of run around and let his deck draw itself in that way. So I think he's one of the characters that can kind of lean into, you don't run combos, you run redundancy, because I have both magnifying glass and I have the pocket telescope, which
Mhm.
I don't think I actually wound up playing. But it's like, oh, they're both hand tools that help investigation, and so on.
Hey, speaking of, I don't know,
Yeah.
of Arkham Horror, the card game, Maxine Newman's in the chat. Hi, Max.
Oh, hey Max.
Hey.
What's up? Yeah. So I mean, and also circumstances kind of dictated that like the nice expensive toys didn't really get a chance to fire right. Like I
Right.
didn't get Janae into play.
Yeah.
I didn't get Eon Chart. My Ariadne's Twine had to go towards other assets. And so
Well,
so.
Yeah.
and
And
we
Janae was like direct tech against the end of the scenario, and we desperately
Oh yeah,
needed
that was
it.
rough. Yeah, it's like if I was, yeah, if I was going to remake the deck, it could definitely be like, oh, you could make it a perfectly fine 30 card deck that actually has consistent access to the key ally and redundant options and 2 copies of the only protection against mirror horror.
But you know what? We like jank here.
Yeah, no, that's what this series is all about, is jank and sub. I was about to say suboptimal,
was-
but
Wow, how dare you?
No, yeah,
I like
it's
Monterey.
inaccurate.
I was enjoying watching him being played.
I do think that was a little bit of like a self-inflicted. Oh, Max says hi and bye.
Oh, okay, bye.
Hi,
Thanks
Max.
for thanks for making the game and stopping by.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Catch you later.
you are the best.
I don't know, we really rushed out and found the key and cleared those locations real quick, and then ended up only being through like 8 out of I think, are there 18 rounds in the game? 19 rounds in the agenda deck, or
Wow.
those 19 Doom. And we really rushed it to where if we had taken a little more time drawing some cards and setting up a little bit more, we might have been able to actually manage the enemies. And
I mean, like, my
have some
build
good
was
time.
okay. I feel like I got things into play that were beneficial. Like, I got Milan early. I got the whip early. It was just, I think we all trusted one another to actually have answers for enemies. And when the board started filling up with Night Gaunts and stuff, it was like, that was what pressured us to go for the end. I don't know
Yeah.
that that was exactly a conscious decision to be like, hey, let's just rush
Sure.
for the chamber,
Yeah.
right?
The thing is, I built Rita to be pretty heavy combat, and then pivoted to Dexter, which I like built quickly and did not put enough combat because I was so worried about making synergy like be really great. Which I'm very happy with it. I think it's good. I think I don't think it's a thing you build around. I think it's a thing you fall into.
The synergy stuff.
Yeah, I think it's like if
Yeah.
you're making it through the campaign, you have 20 experience, and you're like, oh shit, I have like one of the a few of these multi-class cards, and I have access to this rogue synergy. Sure, like that's a nice resource engine. Why not?
Yeah, definitely.
And I mean, especially if Close the Circle can play cards, like, oof, that's a Dexter card if I ever saw one. It's like, oh yeah, let's play 5 free cards out of this thing, and then use it to play another free card using his ability.
Yeah, that's pretty nuts if it does. If basic actions can play cards, but I think
Maxine,
they can.
if you're still in the chat, can
I
Close
doubt
the
it.
Circle play cards?
So she left.
Oh, I know. In case she was still lingering, listening to us chat.
So,
but yeah, no, I liked it a lot. I like the deck. I'm actually really excited for, at some point during our standalone series, I'm building Jim, who used to be like my favorite Mystic, and I just haven't built him in a while because I haven't been excited about him. And then that new card came out that's like an ally that like allows you to call your
Nikosi. Yes.
Yeah, Nikosi allows you to call what is it called? The token that's
your
your
sigil
token.
or something. Yeah.
Yeah, your sigil. So I'd be like, oh my god, you just say the skull. So basically every symbol becomes a skull in the bag, and that's really powerful.
Seems good.
I was like, oh man, that seems like a fun time for Jim.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe Jim's gonna make a comeback
That's
now.
gonna be.
Although isn't that
new,
it's like a level 4, level 5? I don't think you can start your deck with that.
3 or 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't give any stats, so
Yeah, but
it's really like
if
the
he's
token
turning all of
synergy.
the if he's turning all of the -6s in our bag into zeros. That's
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm excited to eventually build him.
I'm surprised that stats aren't used for anything but skill tests at this point.
Well, like
it's just an idle thought. Like, why is there not a rogue card saying gain resources equal to your agility?
I want to see stuff that's like, Marvel, I think, has some trait gated cards where it's like, oh, you can only play this if you're an Asgardian character.
Yeah.
Yeah, or if you're Ariel. Or,
I want that too.
Yeah, so I want to see stuff that's like, play only if your base strength is 4 or higher or something.
Right.
And it's like, oh, just a big punch, right?
Yeah.
And you gotta be that strong to do it.
Or something that scales in that way, where it's like an event that's like you throw a rock, and then if you're 3 or lower, it does 1 damage. If you're 3 to 5, it does 2 damage. If it's above 5, it does 3 damage.
That's I mean, all of that falls under what I'm talking about. That I'm just surprised that the game has basically never looked at your stats at any time other than at the start of a skill test. Like, it almost never checks your stats for any other reason, and I'm just surprised that 6 years into this game that's the case. 5 years into this game.
5.
It's a good. I mean, it's kind of like why you bring. Scott, get out of here.
Now
it's kind of like why you bring new people into teams, because like sometimes when you've been looking at something the same way for so long, it's hard to even like I don't know if Max has really considered that since maybe she made the game 6 years ago.
It's true. Yeah.
So, and I don't know if people are constantly just brainstorming new ideas like that. That's like not just new campaign scenario type things or new like gimmicks to scenarios, but actually like putting player cards or flipping player cards on their head, or even putting encounter cards on their head like that.
Right.
I don't know. I haven't followed the fan design stuff for a while, but like, I think sometimes people were doing like, oh, here's a block of investigators, and they're all time travelers. So it's like, oh, it's a medieval knight and a Wild West cowboy and a whatever. So it would be like thematically linked, but I don't know that there was much design consideration, uniting stuff like that.
Yeah, but I think there is space to explore still.
Definitely.
Yeah, and I tend to at least unless I think the designers of a game or something have no idea what they're doing, which is not what I think here. I tend to give them the benefit of the doubt that's something as broad as using stats for other things, like that. In at least some ways, that has been considered, and she has a reason that she hasn't gone down that road. Whether she's saving it for cycle 9 or doesn't feel like it actually is a good choice for this game for whatever reason.
Cycle 9.
I don't know. This is 7, right, or 8? I don't know. I just threw out a number. We're not already to 9, are we?
No, I don't think we're at 9.
Dunwich, Carcosa, Age, Circle, Dream, Innsmouth. This is 8 if you count the core set, right? Otherwise, it's 7.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was just looking. I was picturing my shelf, and I have 5 Return 2 boxes, and then 2 Arkham Knights boxes that are filled fully with campaigns. So that's 7.
Sounds right. Yeah.
So how do we feel about this as a reinvention of the Dunwich experience?
Oh God.
What, this return box?
Huh? Well, I mean, I guess particular to this scenario, but
I don't. I think if you had gotten rid of the like black highlighted encounter sets and just told me this was the original Bloodly Altar, I would have believed you. Yeah. I don't think it's
I don't know.
It's funny, and I think that's why it's good that the return boxes seem to be doing more than that in the more recent ones. But back when Dunwich was half of the content, the idea of a little more variety on replays was actually pretty appealing. But now that any given campaign is a handful of 60 scenarios you can choose from, and you can play all year without really running the same one twice, like that doesn't matter as much. So I'm glad that like Circle is doing like the witch. Siding with the witches storyline and like doing more larger upgrades, because I think that's what it needs in order to matter.
I definitely I like seeing the new encounter. Like, I think I'm having a great time playing Circle Undone with Brandon, and Ian and I actually just finished our Return to Circle Undone, which we won in the 6th scenario with the lodge, or with the witches, and then decided to be like, but we're actually going to finish the campaign.
No, I was excited. Yeah, I that's Scott and I did exactly the same thing where we played to the witch ending, and then we're like, and then we're just gonna kind of have like an extended cut or whatever.
Yeah.
We're just gonna play like the rest
Exactly.
of it anyways.
I didn't know
what's
there was an early
disappointing
witch
is
ending.
that it
Thanks
was,
for that
like,
spoiler.
largely symmetrical in terms of what you wind up doing. It's like for the ally with the witches versus ally with the lodge, early ending, right?
Yeah.
But it's
No,
harder, so I guess it has that going for it.
Yeah, but as far as this scenario goes, I think it's still one of the better ones in Dunwich in a kind of aspect way. I'm trying to think of like what's really. I mean, honestly, I still think like the first two scenarios of this campaign are the best two scenarios.
I think
And
I
maybe it's like a
unfortunately
fond-
agree with that. Yeah.
I still.
There's a fondness to them. Like I played them
Yeah.
so many times that I was
Right.
like, they're family.
That's true. They are excellent scenarios. I still really like the train. Train's probably my favorite, if not one of my, maybe just like one of my top three.
I think where Doom Awaits hits like top two in this for me. I like Where Doom Awaits a lot.
I love Where Doom Awaits for how, and we'll be there soon enough. I love where Doom Awaits captures the like path up the hill with all the branching paths, but then the enemies kind of making their way up the path to the top, where then they screw you if you let them get there. Like it feels really unique and thematic. It's like it's a unique, great way to use the location system in the game that kind of remains unique, right? Like, is there?
In terms of,
I mean, I guess there's the
moving
3
around.
meter scenario that is like shuffling up the Black Seas and stuff, but like that whole like kind of moving blindly
Echoes
into.
is the thing that I would liken it most to. Echoes of the past.
Oh, I would say Secret Name kind of has, you got to go to a location to get another location.
But I like the idea, like in both, even though I don't really love Echoes, but like especially in Where Doom Awaits, like you can kind of picture the story unfolding where it's like you're trying to race up this mountain before cultists race up and start the ritual site chant, which is like really interesting. Because that's like a lot of what Arkham is, at least from an overview from like what the game has been in the past before like the long scenario, like that campaign style is like cultists are doing shit and they're summoning things. It's like it's cool to try to be like, I'm gonna run up this place and interrupt that ritual while it's happening.
Right. Okay, well it is 9 o'clock, so I need to go to bed.
Yeah, it's getting pretty late here on the West Coast.